So, we are anticipating the new release of The Wolfman, Leigh Whannell's first film since The Invisible Man, which
It is, yeah.
which in its own right's exciting.
Yes, because that was something special.
So, with it being Leigh Whannell's first film since then, is already exciting, but also the fact he's got the film is once again a Universal monster film,
Yes.
which is also
Yes,
exciting.
yes.
So, we thought that why not, in anticipation for that, we actually look back at the original Wolfman from 1941.
It must be one of the first horror films that I saw. I must have been maybe 11 or 12 when I watched it. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of werewolves.
Okay,
I think they're one of, if not my favourite horror movie monsters.
Okay.
Just monsters in general. I think
Yeah.
they're so cool. And I'd enjoyed it when I was younger. Was curious to see how it held up. And to me, it does. I really enjoy it. I think for the, was it hour 9?
Yeah,
runtime?
it's an hour 9 minutes. It's a
brisk,
breeze.
brisk pace. I think it's paced pretty well.
For me, it's my first time seeing this
Yes.
this film. I think I'm a noob when it comes to the Universal monster movies. I'm not sure if I've documented that on this channel yet, but yeah, no, I think the only one I have seen prior to this is Frankenstein, and that was like I watched that over a decade ago. So it's not, they're not recently in my mind. But
I think we're both still very much novices to that era.
Yeah, in terms of my thing, like my love for the creature of a werewolf, it's not my favorite horror monster, but I do love a wolf. I do love a werewolf. Again, I'm especially a fan of a werewolf transformation, and we'll get into and so
we'll have to talk about that.
What I will say is I kind of echo your stuff, if I'm being honest, where I'm like, I had a fun time with this.
Yeah.
It's a fun film, is The Wolfman from 1941. It's, again, as I said, it's an hour and 9. We're in. And we're so in. Like, the film doesn't waste any time. Again, you could look at it and go, like, what a fucking, like, lazy way of, like... And it is. There is a laziness in the sense of, like, how do we, like, get this across? How do we get the characters across and, like, everything? Just instantly have, like, Lon Chaney, like, Larry just start, like, saying stuff.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, instantly have it.
The dialogue is fairly exposition heavy.
But also, it's also, like, well, what... With these kinds of films, what are you here for? So, like, and it's like, we need information, but we don't want to laze about with the information.
Yeah, like,
so, like, the film opens and we get, like Lon Chaney Jr. being like, oh, yes, and then we see, like, another character like, oh, we used to play in the fields when we were younger, and then he goes, well, now he runs the guard. Well, now he runs
the guard. So, he has to get to work.
So off you go now. It's like, speaking of such, how do you go? And then we see a photo of, it's like, I'm sorry about my brother, which I don't think that ever comes back up from my memory.
No, I think that's purely a vehicle to get to Larry to
why
Wales.
He's back. Yeah.
Again, the telescope just serves as a vehicle to introduce more characters.
So how Larry to meet, I forgot her name, but the love interest, the love interest in this film. Who's only the love interest in this film.
Yeah.
There is a style to it. There is an aesthetic.
The aesthetic of it is beautiful. I mean, we were talking that I think the sets are immaculate.
Can you tell there's painted backdrops? Yes. Do you care? No, because it just has a feel to it.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
They're great paintings.
Doesn't feel cheap. The fog, the use of the fog in this film is
the
brilliant.
Lighting. I think the one that jumped out to me is when Larry is going to, was it Bella's or was it?
Yeah.
And just the lighting shining through the crypt in the background, I thought was just beautiful.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. There's ones where later on in the film where you see Larry's dad walking and there's the trees and he's just backlit and there's the fog. I'm just like, it's just, again, there's a lot of instances on this channel where we just end up saying images that appear and we just go, it's just cool.
It just is.
You can't again, there's things where you if you just look at a thing you go like, that just looks good, man. So I was aware this was a later Universal monster movie, and so in my head I was slightly concerned because I knew the aesthetic and style from earlier Universal monster movies, and I knew they did go all out in the sense of like they did have like the sets, and they didn't cheap out on the style and the atmosphere of the film. So I was like slightly worried about this one. Where like, is this just going to be one of the ones where it starts to feel cheap?
Yeah, they're sort of perhaps calling it in a bit.
Yeah, like, all right, well, just get the wolf, get it up or whatever. But it's like, no, like the sets all look great.
Yeah.
There's, again, the way the film's shot, I think looks great. One thing I have really discovered is like shadows are maybe the most important part of horror cinematography.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what kind of film you're doing, whether it be a black and white film from the 40s or even a color film from the 2010s or whatever.
Yeah.
Shadows are always probably maybe the most integral part of horror, like in terms of if you're shooting it.
The amount of sort of power that they have.
Yeah, whether it be just to make something look cool and atmospheric. Like there's stuff where it is just like where we're in like the manor or whatever, and it's just like all like like just blokes sat on a couch just talking, and it's not a horror set piece. It is just kind of them just chatting. I'm like, the light is hitting the actors in a certain way. It's not overlit.
It just keys you into different
parts
of the frame to focus on.
It's feeling gothic. It's just automatically feeling like this. Like there's things just in the shadows or whatever. But even not necessarily. Again, as I said, they're not horror scenes. They're just consistently keeping with the tone. And then when we get to the horror scenes, I think the shadows are the things that make it the more intriguing. If there's anything you can nitpick, it's the cinematography is not one of them. I don't think if you can like break apart this film and go, well, that doesn't hold up. The look of the film is not that, which I think, especially for a genre film from the early 40s, is very impressive, I think. You mentioned Lon Chaney Jr. Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah.
He's good. I think it's an interesting leading man from as an overall thing, especially, again, in this time period where he's almost set up to be... I don't know if it's just because it's a modern lens that I'm looking at this through. He's almost set up to be like, I'm the charming man, and I'm this. But he comes across a bit more like as a dork, because there's moments as well, like about halfway through the film where he is charming her, and it's like, are we meant to be falling for him at this point? Because I don't know. I don't know about you.
We remarked his persistence at that's trying to go on a date with
it's like, oh yes, I saw those earrings. It's like, how do you know I had those earrings? Oh, I'm psychic. You're fucking gaslighting and tell him you're peeping Tom, mate. Tell him you're spying through a window, and then he's just like, oh yes, I saw them. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to close my blinds now. Oh well, don't do that. It's like, you fucking weirdo. Keep off, lay off him, man.
And then like, I'd love to take you to get your fortune read. No. I'd love to take you to get your fortune read. No.
One more time. Still says no.
Yeah.
I think even like you could look at like someone like Citizen Kane, which came out the exact same year.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a very unfair comparison, comparing the Wolfman to Citizen Kane. But my point being is like there's nuanced human storytelling in Citizen Kane. There's not in the Wolfman. The Wolfman was not trying to be that.
No, they're two very different goals.
We need to get man, woman there.
Monster.
And then monster in there. That's all that's needed for this story, and that's all that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
The director of this film, who I don't know the name of, I can't recall.
Claude Wagner.
Claude Wagner, he was not going like, we need to really like delve into the nuance of these characters and like.
I mean, with an hour 9, you haven't got time to do that.
Exactly. What do we need? We need the fucking wolf.
Yeah.
Did we get enough of the wolf? Who's to say? This film is chock full of characters.
Yes.
There's a lot of characters that I think are actually well balanced.
Mm-hmm.
The film is actually quite well done in terms of the handling of what could be this film could fall into a really stupidly convoluted plot for no reason.
Yeah, they could have spent an awful lot of time establishing the community around Talbot Castle, I think, and getting to know everyone, but I don't think the characters stand out enough to do that, which is fine.
I agree.
Which is fine.
We're going to say the same thing here. We have enough of twiddle, but also Twiddle's a fun little character. Like,
Oh, love him. Just a silly little guy.
You know, I was about to go like, we need more horror films these days that have a twiddle. I don't think that's necessarily what I mean. I think films that are in this kind that have a bit of a fun little tone need a twiddle. And what is a twiddle, you may ask? Well, let me tell you, dear viewer. It's a twiddle is a character that shows up at the scene of the first murder, where it's the first wolf instance, where it's Bella's body is found, who was the original werewolf.
Yes.
Next to the body of, I forgot her name, Jane, I think her name is, the first victim. Yeah. And it's like, and then you get like a coroner basically being like, murdered from a ripped jugular. And then it's like, he's like, are you getting this down, Twiddle? And Twiddle is just the notes taker. It goes, I'm very queasy right now, sir. And then, but every time it's like, you get that, Twiddle? Yeah, they have to make sure you.
He's the only character that is referred to by name
constantly.
Every time he's referred to.
Twiddle.
You getting this down, Twiddle? Twiddle, this way.
They must have known what they're doing because it's such a funny name.
They had to know. They had to know. It's towards the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
When they're going out to hunt again. And
did you hear that, Twiddle? If I didn't hear it, I would still be wrapped up in bed nice and cozy.
Sir.
Who is he? What's his story?
We don't even know his role. What is his job? He was just there.
He helps out the world of this film and the characters in this. It's just a bit enjoyable, isn't it? It's just,
I think you just enjoy watching.
There's no boring person. Even the characters that, I mean, all of them aren't well developed, if you know what I mean. But like even the characters who are just kind of like planks of wood, have some sort of like charm, or like not charm, I guess, but like a bit of enjoyability to their presence.
Like the Doctor character, sort of flies quite under the radar. Same with Bela Lugosi. Actually, no,
Bella's
not
quite
the same. Not the same thing. There's nothing glaringly off about them. They just are featured less prominently in the story.
But when they are on screen, I'm like, okay, cool.
We understand why they're there, and they're clear enough that we can tell who they are.
Yeah, no one's annoying. No one's no one's like, Jesus Christ, can they move on?
Bela Lugosi, I think.
Yes,
he's in it for 2 scenes.
Maybe.
I think.
He's maybe
2 to 3.
He's maybe got 5 minutes of screen time. I'm not gonna lie.
And he's just magnetic. I think he's so good in it.
I wanted more. You know, I actually wanted more.
Yeah,
I wanted more Bela Lugosi. I was kind of good when they were like, when it found out he was the Wolfman. I was like, they killed him off.
I find it interesting that he's the original werewolf in this, and we don't see him as the wolf. He sort of manifests more as a dog.
Yeah, it is.
The way it's played out,
which the lighting and black and white helps with the clear toy.
Yeah, which masks a bit of the puppetry there.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think it's fine. Again, it's clearly it is clearly like a puppet of some sort of where like Lon Chaney's like, there's like a slight he's kind of going hold like, he's biting me. But the way it's shot, it's like, but it's a weirdly well done shot in the sense like, I mean, it's not so obvious. You know how like sometimes with like the OG Godzilla where it's like they linger on it for a bit too long. Yeah. It's like, it's a guy in a suit in that. But it's like with this though, they didn't like, I don't know, they obscured it enough and didn't linger on the thing enough to make it so obvious that I'm looking at like a toy.
Well, I noted down that sort of sequence of the first werewolf attack, I think, was just genuinely well crafted. Suspense and then payoff.
I think it's the best horror sequence in this film. It's all very well done from shot wise, from blocking, from sound design, even.
Yeah.
From like the werewolf like growls, and again Jane's scream, and just the score in it, which the score is fun. It's fun.
Yeah, the score is just
it's
always
classic
there.
Universal horror.
It just doesn't. The score doesn't. Never felt like it stopped.
Dun, 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 dun,
it was just constant throughout, but it was. I enjoyed it.
It's part of it all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think
because there's also performances in this that are heightened.
Yeah, it feels like you're watching a stage play almost.
Yeah, again, if we go back to like the Bela Lugosi bit of where he looks at the hand, great. I love the little practical effects where it's just clearly like a light projection of it's like, okay, cool.
The pentagram.
Yeah, the pentagram on the hands, and they do that
And then he had
twice.
this like reveal of the forehead pentagram.
Yeah.
It's like,
So it's like,
oh, that's cool.
and he goes like, "You must leave now," and then she sits there for a bit, and then just screams, and then gets up, and then gets up and run. I'm like, this is hammy, and I'm loving every moment of this. The majority of this film it's not man becomes wolf, and then now causes havoc. A lot, and which I was actually slightly enjoying the film as a whole anyway, but then I was like, we still need to get to the wolf, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with what's happening so far, but we haven't got to the wolf yet. And when we get to the wolf, I knew of the transformation before I saw this film. I saw the clip.
Yeah, I think that's very famous.
Where he sits down and he takes his shoes off, and then we just kind of like gradually fade to seeing
the
wolf
like
shoes.
Lap dissolves.
Yes.
Or something?
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, cool. And then he's on his little tootsies, he's on little dippy toes, just like, and then we cut to the him out in the woods.
Yeah.
And then just no, it's certainly a design. It's certainly a look of a wolf man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have an issue. Like, I don't love the design. I'll get that out there right now.
For me, no. I enjoy werewolves when they look like wolves.
Yeah.
I'm thinking American Werewolf.
Yeah.
Dog Soldiers, I think. Does it very well.
Yeah. I don't mind a human frame with a wolf.
Yeah.
With a werewolf is specifically what I mean. I don't mind a human frame. I don't necessarily need a werewolf to turn into a wolf. Do you know what I mean? Like
no.
Like, I don't necessarily need that, because in my head it's like, well, it's just shape shifting. It's not like it's not a monster.
There's no man part.
Yeah, there's not a monster.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give it a snout.
Yeah, I think that's to me. I think that's what's missing. Is just
it looks like a bear. It looks like a teddy. You know what I mean?
He does look very huggable. What brought me round to it a touch more was when he gets his leg caught in the bear trap, and he's writhing around on the log. I thought I was much more sort of on board with it then.
Yeah, the shadow play helps that we don't see it. Too much.
The obscuring of the majority of the face.
It's either like the eye, we see eyes, we might see a mouth.
Yeah. The design does leave a little to be desired. But is it iconic? Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, it's well known, but also I also don't think you could look at this and go like, well, for the time period. Because Boris Karloff's Frankenstein looks sick as fuck, and that was from 10 years prior.
Something that I did think really helped was the sound design there.
I
think the wolf sounds.
Yes.
Really.
The snarls.
They do quite a lot of lifting there.
They do. No, it does. Yeah,
but it really does work.
Yeah. Again, because he could have very well have just been like, oh, I'm walking and I'm a wolf, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's hunched again towards the end where he hunts down his love interest. He's not just instantly falling there. It's like he's behind her and then he stops behind a tree. He's doing a lot of like predator hunting the prey.
Yeah.
So it's cool. There's not a lot of it, but it's, it's
nice to see.
Yeah. But also, like, I say that there's not a lot of the wolf. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if like the glimpses that we did get of like wolf man doing wolf man things isn't impressive. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it feels somewhat understated.
It's just kind of like he walks up and grabs them.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't see any like biting.
The film balances really well in the sense like the film almost deals more with the horror of like, oh no, I am a wolf.
Yeah, it's the focus is more on.
It's more on Larry.
The internal sort of struggle that he's having.
Yeah.
Rather than the danger he poses to other people. I think.
Yeah, which is, I don't know, nice in the sense because there's the story element of like he's back in this town. He's been gone for a while, and he wants to.
So much so that he has an American accent.
Yes, yeah, and he wants to help. He wants to help in this town, and now the fact he's now the force that's causing danger. There's this guy, it's like, oh shit, I fucking
like. I do actually feel pretty bad for him.
Yeah.
Like, was it when he turns up to the church for the funeral after he has his first kill?
Yes,
he just looks really, really sad.
Yeah,
and it's hard to not feel sympathy for him.
Again, there's that moment as well where he wakes up in the forest after he got bear trapped.
Yeah.
And he is a bit like,
his
He clicks on. It's like, oh no,
Like,
oh shit,
yeah.
this is a thing. And then he goes to the antique shop.
Yeah, really need to learn her name.
Have you got your phone on you?
I'll-
We'll fact check
I'll have a look.
quickly.
Evelyn Ankers as Gwen Conliffe.
Gwen, God bless her. She's doing great. She's doing the best she can. But what a shit fucking role she's got here.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a sense of like, oh, it's a terrible role. It's just so like, she goes from like, all right, I'll stay away, to being like, well, I guess I'm in love with you now. It's
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing, you crazy woman?
Even because isn't Frank her fiance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Which obviously that happens in real life, and that's
yeah, but also it's like Frank's giving no reason.
yeah. Frank's not
not-
a terrible guy.
Yeah, and she's going like, and then when like Larry's going like, I need to leave. She goes,
like,
I'll
"No,
go already.
I'll go with
I'll
you."
go with you. Why?
Why?
What are you doing? What's the reason for this?
First of all, this guy's been spying on you.
There's so many red flags. There's so many red flags right off the bat. And evidently, in the 40s, there wasn't any red flags.
Yeah.
No one knew what a red flag was. Everyone was fucking colorblind, evidently. So
Oh, it was all black and white.
it was all
wasn't
black
it?
and white. What is a red flag?
She makes the decision to go find him in the forest, even after the traveller woman says, "Come with me instead."
Who's such a fascinating character. I'm here to tell you about...
Yeah, it's like, I'm here to tell you what the audience needs to know.
Because Bella's dead, so I need to take that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
They could only afford Bella Lugosi for so long. Gwen's whole thing, again, you can forgive it because it's like, sure, whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's this kind of a film. But also, to bring it up, it's just so like, Gwen's like, here's a placeholder for something. I feel like more drama could have been had if she was actually his fiance.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. I feel like you could just like, there's a bit more drama. Whereas like,
If they had more of a relationship to them.
as opposed to just
Then
like, well,
We met a couple days ago. And
I know you're getting married to someone else,
Yeah.
but I'm still really trying. And then she goes, I need to find Larry. I need to find him. He's gonna. She doesn't say it, but she basically goes, he's going to kill you if he does.
Yeah.
And she goes, I need to find Larry. And then
But she doesn't even say like, oh, I must try or
Yeah.
something. Just
Well, yeah, she
out of
doesn't know
there.
he's the wolf.
yeah,
Because
no.
that's also the thing. No, it's not like, I know he's the wolf. That's another thing I want to say. It would have been so cool because we see him get tied up. I know we're jumping around here. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? We see him tied up and everything. I'm like, and then he says, "Oh, I left him in front of an open window so he could at
can
least
watch
see."
the hunt.
So it's like, okay, cool. They've set up the fact of like a full moon thing.
Yeah.
Which we didn't get one moon shot in this film. There was no moon in
there
this
was
film.
No full moon.
That's disappointing.
They never specify that this version of a werewolf needs
No.
a full moon.
Oh no, they don't.
just
It's
the autumn moon and the wolfsbane, isn't
That
it?
is true.
I don't know how hard and fast those rules are, but
It would have been nice
They're
just
just like-
it would have been nice just to see a moon though.
Yeah.
Just one shot. Because they even do that really cool edited sequence where it's like this overlaid like
his
double
sort of
exposure thing.
freak out bit.
Yeah, where it's, there's some a really cool sequence like that where it's
Yeah.
oh, that's neat. That could be that could have been a really cool way just to show the transformation, if I'm being perfectly
Yeah.
honest, as opposed to just a crossfade to him putting on shoes, basically. But like, so am I. And I'm like, it could have been a cool thing to show him tied up, and then I don't know, even like a thing where he's
See him
like,
break out.
yeah, where he's like, no, and then he's transforming
Yeah.
and breaks up. But no, we just kind of like cut. We just cut.
Suddenly he's outside.
He's just outside. So, oh, we need to find the wolf. He goes, that can't be him, can it? And then we just
like,
cut.
oh,
And
no,
oh,
it is,
I guess. Yeah, all right. I never like to do this. But I was thinking, here's what I could have done better in 1941's Wolfman. Where it could have been a cool thing where where Gwen goes to find Larry or whatever, goes to see Larry. I don't know, she might know he's tied up or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then she goes in the room and sees the restrictions broken.
Yeah,
or
or
whatever.
even like the
And a smashed window
paw
or
prints
something.
leading out.
Yeah,
or
something,
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, Larry's the fucking wolf.
Yeah,
Because it's not like the werewolf lore hasn't been expositioned
yeah,
to
like
fuck
the,
in
the
this film.
The town knows everything about werewolves.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not just like what the fuck is this?
So it's not like people would immediately be like, well, no, it's not that then.
Yeah. So like it could have been a cool thing. Gwen goes and goes, wait a minute, he is a werewolf. I need to go and tell and she goes out to try to find him or convince everyone else.
Yeah.
Don't kill the wolf.
Yeah, like
because it's Larry.
Yeah,
or whatever. But no, it is just kind of like Larry's out here and I need to find him.
Yeah.
What are you doing? If I were to nitpick, which I will for the video's sake, there's my nitpick. But also, I don't care that much that this film has shoddy plot elements.
Yeah,
or bad character motivation.
We didn't get to that point and we decided, no, we'll turn it off. We've had enough now.
Well, it's got bad character motivation. The film isn't long enough for me to care that much about that specific
yeah,
thing,
and it's not delving into that as much. But again, I feel like a broken record. It doesn't need to.
I think
we enjoyed it anyway.
I think the only thing that leaves me slightly unsatisfied for what the film is just the Wolfman sequences. It's just because there's only so much I can like love or like be into seeing him shadowily walking through a forest before it gets like, and then what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But you know what? They don't do it enough to where it's like actually an issue.
Never feels boring.
No, I wouldn't.
Which would, I think, just massacre the film.
If I'm watching an hour and 9-minute film, that's boring. What a horrid sight. I think horror films, even like recent years, fall under the issue of being like, well, we need to do a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
So they pump in loads, and then it gets to the point like, fuck, I mean, just get to it.
Yeah, I think some horror films have developed a tendency to become bloated.
They feel like they need to be more meaningful.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for a meaningful horror film.
Yeah.
That's some of my favourite films, are meaningful horror films. I feel like the horror as a genre can lend itself very well to being meaningful.
Yeah, I think the genre is built on that.
And I do think and again, weirdly enough, this film has elements of that. Again,
yeah, you can,
with his conflict of feeling like he is becoming the doom of this place.
Yeah, I think there's a lot you can read into with this film.
The folklore element of this film is actually really neat. It's maybe one of the stronger parts of it, where it's again, you just got these travelers like, we're telling you this.
Yeah, it's not like everyone's discovering werewolves for the first time,
which I like.
Yeah, I like, because I feel like that doesn't happen all that often.
No.
In werewolf
we need
films.
to catch up. The film needs to catch up to us because we fucking know. Silver, yes. Moon, yes. Get bit, you turn. Yes, we know all this. Why is everyone else taking so long to be like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Whereas like this, it's like, well, yeah, there's a story.
Does it? Yeah.
I mean, the film starts like almost like a newspaper clip.
It starts with just a block of text.
This is it.
Like, this is what you need to know.
And everyone else does.
Enjoy.
Yeah, off you go. I think as well, if you are into werewolf films, it's a good inclusion.
Yeah, I think you will enjoy it.
I don't think it does anything
down to
new.
the folklore bit. I think is where the appeal is.
Yeah, because there is a lot of werewolf films where it's just like, man gets bit by a wolf and then now he's the wolf.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. Whereas like there is there is cool little like, again, what this film lacks, like what this film doesn't have like loads of, which is like, well, we can't realistically do loads of werewolf stuff, and we can't realistically do really convincing kills or anything.
Yeah.
So let's just really lean into the lore.
Yeah, let's just
like the building of the folklore of it all.
Because then I think in that way that the sort of meaning of the werewolf to these people is exposited, your mind then starts to fill in the rest of what you're not seeing.
So that's the Wolfman. Excited for Leigh Whannell's the Wolfman.
Yes.
And just the general influx of the return of Universal monsters.
Yeah,
even,
I think
even unintentionally with like Nosferatu, which is a Universal film about a vampire, technically Bram Stoker Dracula. And then obviously we got we got Wolfman coming out. And
we had Invisible Man. Which, if you haven't seen, would highly recommend.
We got multiple Frankensteins.
Yes, we're being very spoiled.
Yeah, and then eventually we'll get a creature from a Black Lagoon, and eventually a mummy.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's fun. It's a fun time to be a monster fan, is what I will say.
We're back. We're so back.
We're so back, baby. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.